And for the remaining part of the programme this morning, we're talking about the way that ozone pollution and smog can affect our health. That's because a major new study is being launched involving several universities. It's a joint study. The University of Science and Technology's Institute for the Environment is teaming up with the government's EPD, Environmental Protection Department. The research is also going to include the Chinese University, City University, the Polytechnic University. It's a major event. We have on the line with us Professor Alexis Lau, Director of the Institute for the Environment at HKUST. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, it seems like a great deal of new technology and coordination is going to go into this study. What are you hoping that it will achieve?
Well, because ozone is different from other pollutants, many other pollutants are directly emitted at the pollution source, and we can deal with those quite relatively easier. Ozone is emitted by like a lot of different precursor, and then the ozone and the smog is formed in the atmosphere. So with the new instrument, we want to be able to identify what are the major sources contributing to the ozone in this region.
Mm-hmm. What's our present situation like?
Well, our present situation in the past 10 years, we have seen ozone slowly creeping up. That's because of some of the non-linearity in the thing, that when we start cleaning out other pollution, ozone actually can become more and more higher. And we have to really understand what are the key pollutants contributing ozone, and then we can fix the problem.
It sounds interesting. Does that mean we've been doing better in other areas?
Yes, we are doing much better, like sulfur dioxide, particulate, NOx. We are having more than 30 to 50% reduction in the past 10 years. Unfortunately, it's just the atmospheric photochemistry. With the if we don't know what is contributing ozone and we don't target those, then ozone can continue to climb.
And this is a regional issue?
Yes, this is a regional. We have, in the past year, conduct a lot of flights as well as ship measurement outside in the ocean area as well as up in the atmosphere, showing that the ozone all around is very high.
Will you be working with universities in the mainland?
Yes. Actually, even now, the observations are being taken by university in the Pearl River Delta as well as in Macau.
I believe you have a scientific steering committee with researchers from Hong Kong and the mainland taking part in this. We've seen very high levels of air pollution over the past week or so. My understanding is that's been blamed on the presence of powerful typhoons, not coming here but close enough, the other side of Taiwan, to affect the weather here. I mean, these are big areas of low pressure, obviously, which I guess draw in pollutants from the mainland and from other parts of the region. Am I right?
Yes. The primary reason is still the emission, which is coming out every day. Mm-hmm. And then normally with the wind strong, they can be blown away, the dispersion helps. Mm-hmm. But during this typhoon season, the typhoon center is very high wind, but around the typhoon, actually, there's a region of sinking and very slow wind speed. So that will lead to accumulation of the pollution. And then when the typhoon is in our east, then there is slow but very weak wind from the north, creating a situation that is not good for air pollution in Hong Kong and for the whole region.
Now this ozone and photochemical smog, what does it do to us?
Well, ozone is a very reactive gas, and the photochemical smog are very small particles. they can get into our lung and then attack different organs. And study have already shown that ozone, in terms of short-term health effect, is going to cause a lot of like headache, eye, nose irritation, a lot of this problem. And then the small particulate actually can stay in the lung and cause even longer-term health impact.
So ozone, in your mind, is a bad thing, a bad situation?
Yes, ozone in the surface is bad because it's very reactive. It can damage the lung, even the central nervous system, and so on. But then the particulate, which is the smog, actually they are particles, will stay in the lung, and so they have long-term cancer effect also.
Because in the past we've talked about protecting the ozone layer.
Yes, that's when the ozone is very high up, like in 15 kilometers or above. Those ozone help us filter out the ultraviolet radiation. But when the ozone is on the ground, that is not good.
So ozone up there is great. Ozone down here is not great.
No.
Okay, and you're going to find out how it's developing?
Yes, we are trying to find out what type of industry as well as what type of product, what kind of process are giving out the precursor of the ozone, and then we can try to replace those product or process to make the ozone in this region lower.
Okay, we have an email here from a listener. Guy says, it's unfortunate that the EPD refused to consider completing the geographical coverage of the SAR with its air quality monitoring stations. Sai Kung has none, i.e. Sai Kung Town. Ma On Shan likewise has none, yet both are increasingly heavily populated districts. Both communities accordingly have to rely on the data produced by geographically distant stations. Similarly, the University of Science and Technology Supersite, funded wholly or in part by Hong Kong taxpayers, refuses to perform a public service by releasing its data in respect of Clearwater Bay. Why is this? Professor Lau, does Guy have a point there?
Well, we are actually having an app that produces the distribution of different pollutants all around Hong Kong, not just in the Clearwater Bay, but everywhere in Hong Kong. We have real-time analysis, and some of the data that the email talk about is being put into the system and then released in real time.
So members of the public can access this?
Yes. It's on an app called Praise Hong Kong, PRAISE-Hong Kong, and then if they download the app, then anywhere in Hong Kong, they can get real-time understanding of the variation. Okay.
Well, that's very useful to know. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much for speaking to us on the programme this morning. That was Professor Alexis Lau, a Director of the Institute for the Environment at Hong Kong University of Science and Technology. Now, we have just a few emails here from listeners which I'd like to read before the end of the programme. This one from Mark says, as shown in the discussion, that was the discussion earlier about recycling, the government tendering process is outdated and flawed. It needs a comprehensive review. Alonso writes, this is to do with arrivals testing positive for COVID. Says the number of daily imported cases yesterday was 174. It's been fairly steady at this level for the past few weeks. Goes on to point out that this is taking place in the context of very low passenger arrivals. Alonso says, so while I fully support scrapping of hotel quarantine for arrivals to Hong Kong, I'm curious as to how the government is planning to deal with the inevitable resultant spike in imported cases when tourism recovers. Will positive cases be forced to isolate? If so, where? Hotel or government centre? Or will the Hong Kong government, like most of the rest of the world, stop testing arrivals and accept that COVID is endemic and that Hong Kong's public is well protected against severe illness through vaccination and herd immunity? Another message here from James. This relates to yesterday's topic about tree management. Says the responsible government department goes to the trouble to name and number trees. Surely they have records of age of trees, location and risk in the context of storms and typhoons. If not, why not? Okay, thank you very much for those messages. It's time to bring the programme to a close almost. Thanks to you, Mike.
We've generated a lot of feedback from listeners.
We did, which is always good. Doing our